Is the CFP committee ridiculous enough to rank Texas A&M or Alabama ahead of Ohio State and Indiana in its Week 12 initial college football playoff rankings? I think so. What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year round. If you're into that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like this video, and answer the question in the comments below. Do you think that an SEC team, to make it a little bit more simple, will be ranked ahead of a Big Ten team at number one in the initial college football playoff rankings? Because I would not put it past this room full of suits, guys. I just would not. We know that even the folks that are paid to watch college football do not always watch college football. We know this because the Associated Press poll has Oklahoma ranked ahead of Texas in its Week 12 AP rankings. Why is that wrong, you might say? Because head-to-head is part of the criteria for the AP, and Texas beat the snot out of Oklahoma in head-to-head. And yet, Oklahoma ranks 11, Virginia ranks 12, and Texas ranks 13. I realize that you might think that Texas had to fight its way back against Kentucky in overtime, Mississippi State in overtime, and barely hung on to beat Vanderbilt. But they did, and they beat Oklahoma. So that's one reason why I think this committee could follow suit. They really do enjoy adhering to the AP rankings until such a time as it's time to seed teams, which is why they don't get to seed teams anymore. Now, we're at a spot where Ohio State has demonstrated itself to be the most complete college football team and the best college football team in America, according to me and many others, because even the AP will rank them at number one. But both Indiana and A&M got first place votes. Well, I should say A&M got one first place vote. Indiana has, I think, the best win in college football, going to Autzen and winning by double digits against a previously undefeated Oregon football team. That Oregon football team has also just carried that one loss and looks every bit like going 11-1 and just outside of the college football playoff, like Indiana last year, where they might have to go on the road this year to play, which might be good for them because they've only played neutral site games and they got stomped out by Ohio State in the quarterfinal last year. But now we're getting to a place where Alabama's resume feels really, really good. And the reason that it feels really, really good is they got important wins against Georgia and Missouri, and they're undefeated in SEC competition. However, they did take a week one loss to a bad Florida State football team, a team we thought was good that is actually bad. I think that having a loss at this juncture in the playoff rankings should bar you from being the number one team in the country. But again, I would not put it past this group of suits that, kind of sort of casually watches football. Now, I'm at a spot where A&M feels like a real threat, if you're a Big Ten fan, or favorite, if you're an SEC fan, to be the number one team in the country for the first time ever in the college football playoff rankings. They will undoubtedly have their highest ranking in the college football playoff rankings era on Tuesday night. I don't see them being any worse than fourth, but I can make an argument for three that holds up best. As I see it, it should go Ohio State, Indiana, A&M, Alabama. But once again, the thing about A&M that I think you would lean on is an argument. And the argument is they've got one of the best wins in college football going to Notre Dame and winning 41-40. However, Notre Dame also lost to a Miami team that isn't as good as we thought, even though it was once ranked number 2 in the country. It has a loss to Southern Methodist, and a Southern Methodist team that ain't great, by the way, and won't make the college football playoff this year because those 3 losses just going to make it real difficult. Even if they were able to win the they win the ACC championship game, they can get there, but there are just too many teams in front of them right now. Virginia among them, Georgia Tech, who took a loss to NC State, is going to be ranked there. Louisville is right there, and so is Pitt. It's just going to be hard, right? So I just don't see it. Take that kind of loss, and you've already sustained the loss to Louisville. It's going to be hard for Miami. Meanwhile, Notre Dame got off to 0-2 and has won 6 straight. So the argument for them is going to be, look at what they've done since then. Yeah, okay. All right, bet. But now your best win, I think, if you're A&M outside of Notre Dame, is LSU. And LSU now is garbage, is trash. It's not even a great job anymore because the governor is going to tell you what you can and can't do if you're the athletic director, which really, again, bars it from being one of the best jobs in the country when it gets political. Whether you're conservative, liberal, Democrat, Republican, independent, whatever, anytime politics gets involved in your college football, it's going to dock you. It's not really a place where people want to have that conversation out loud. And I understand if you are a prospective head coach going, I don't know about LSU no more. Although if Clemson is dumb enough to get off of Dabo Swinney, that is a match made in heaven. I don't even think the governor of Louisiana can get in the way of that one if he wants the job. I think the LSU Board of Supervisors be like, sign right here, my good friend, because they also will pay top dollar, even though the governor says they won't, because this is also a dude that blames Scott Woodward for Jimbo Fisher. I get that he blames her for the contract, right? But the buyout was Ross Bjork, who is Ohio State's athletic director, but also hired Mike Elko before he got up out of there and put them basically two different programs on the path to win a national championship this year. Not bad for a dude that went to Emporia State. And I mean that as a positive. That's not a pejorative. I live up the road from Emporia. All right. Don't get it twisted. We got lots of respect for the free state of Kansas. Now, the Aggies got what I think is the best strength of record in the entire country, too, which is a metric that the SEC is leaning hard on. And it really wants you to take that into account because it's got a bunch of wins against teams that have records above 500, including Mississippi State and now even LSU. But if that's all you're banking on, you got to look at what Georgia has been and that Alabama was able to beat them at Sanford, which nobody's been able to do since October 12, 2019. All this with Ty Simpson at quarterback, all this with a wide receiver core that looks really good. It ain't 2020 Alabama, it ain't 2017 Alabama, it ain't Judy, Ruggs, Devontae, and Waddle, but it's still real good. And the defense is playing great. And anytime Caden Proctor gets in the backfield, we're all excited. It's one of those things. But A&M is rounding into form. The problem with A&M is that it's still A&M. And that means history matters here. You haven't won a conference championship of any kind since 98. You haven't won one that you didn't share since 94. You haven't won a national championship since 1939. And usually when you get into the deep water, you buckle. This is an opportunity to change that narrative, right? I genuinely believe that one of these four teams is not making the college football playoff. And because A&M and Alabama don't play each other unless they both get to the SEC championship game, you could end up with perhaps, say, A&M with one loss if they take it to Texas just for giggles, and Alabama with the one loss playing for the spot. Or you would think what I would normally think, which is that both teams that get in the Big Ten championship, both teams that get in the SEC championship, the ACC champ and the Big 12 champ guaranteed to get in, right? I think that's set. That's 8 out of 12. You got your G6 spot, which will probably go to Memphis or North Texas or James Madison, somewhere in there, right? Maybe Navy makes a comeback. Maybe South Florida makes a comeback. It's all to play for over there. However, you also need to take into account what if ACC has 2 one-loss programs in there too? What if it's Georgia Tech versus Virginia? How do you feel about that? Or Louisville or Pitt? Then you're having some hard questions to answer, which is where you get your 3rd and 4th teams in from the Big Ten and the SEC. So all that, my prediction is the committee's going to do something stupid. And all anybody's going to say is, who cares about the rankings before Selection Sunday? And I would say, I do.